And like some of us.
Good morning, everyone. This is the April 13, 2022 meeting of the Tennessee Post Commission. And I'll accept a motion to approve or disapprove the adoption of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Let's do the roll call.
Commissioner Birchfield. Commissioner Cherry.
Here.
Commissioner Dunbar.
Here.
Commissioner Green.
Here.
Commissioner Forrester.
Here.
Commissioner Halsey.
Here.
Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Russell. Commissioner Spangler.
Here.
Commissioner Wagner.
Here.
Commissioner Wright.
Here.
Commissioner Harden. And Vice Chair Paul.
Here. I believe we have a
We
quorum.
do have a point.
Okay, and we'll proceed on. I'll accept a motion to approve or disapprove the minutes for the March 18, 2022 commission meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion approved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next item on the agenda is decertification here. Any of those, Director?
That's going tomorrow.
Appearing before the commission, any waivers for pre-employment requirements?
Sorry.
Okay. Is he ready?
All post commissioners have previously agreed to recuse themselves from any vote that would constitute a conflict of interest. The most obvious of these would include issues that involve their own departments or some that they know personally. Because we have already agreed to this, it should be noted that on routine matters, it will be assumed non-verbally that these commissioners have abstained from that vote. In bigger, more controversial issues that may have a more overt conflict of interest, that may have an appearance of impropriety, those applicable commissioners will still verbally abstain from those votes.
Thank you, Director. Now, item number 5, appearing before the commission, waivers for pre-employment requirements.
And thank you very much, Chair. Jackson Police Department requests a conviction waiver for Taylor Ryan Johnson, hired February 22nd, 2022. On April 4th, 2010, Mr. Johnson was arrested in Jackson, Tennessee, and charged with public intoxication and underage drinking. On January 16th, 2020, Mr. Johnson was found guilty of the charges of public intoxication and underage consumption. On June 2nd, 2012, Mr. Johnson was arrested in Jackson, Tennessee, and charged with simple possession of marijuana. On June 7th, 2012, Mr. Johnson pled guilty and was convicted of simple possession of marijuana. Mr. Johnson has since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing, fines, and fees.
I believe we have the Jackson Police Department on the Zoom screen. Is that correct?
Yes. Do you hear me?
Yes, could you identify yourself, please?
Yes, I'm Captain Gary Benton with Jackson Police Department Legal Counsel. And on behalf of the chief, we would request a pre-employment waiver for Taylor Johnson, who's sitting here with me. He is currently 30 years old. The public intoxication and underage consumption occurred in 2010. At that time, he was 18 years old. And the simple possession of marijuana was in 2012. At the time, he was 20 years old. This has occurred all these occurred over 10 years ago. In the minutes, it says, or in the agenda, it says on January 16th, 2020, he was found guilty for PD and underage consumption. That's not correct. He had some fines still left from that underage consumption and public intoxication. He was not found guilty of anything in 2020, but he didn't, evidently his fines somehow got not paid until then. So he did pay his fines in 2020. That's what it says on our case disposition. He's currently married, has been married almost a year. He has one child and one stepchild. He goes to Grace Point Church currently with him and his family. And he understands all this stuff in the past. It was wrong, and he has since grown up since then. And, we would humbly request a waiver on behalf of Chief Corley that he be allowed to maintain his employment as a police officer. He's wanting to make a difference in the community, and from everything we've seen from him so far, he's He's doing a good job, and we look forward to having him as one of our officers. He's here now if the commission has any questions or anything that else we can address.
Okay, any input from the commissioners? Both of these, he was under the age of 21, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And it was public intoxication and underage drinking, and then, and then the simple possession of marijuana.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Any questions?
I'd like to hear from Mr. Johnson.
Okay, he's here, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just give us your up-to-date situation.
Yes, sir. The last 5 years I've been working at Jackson Energy Authority, the utility company here in the city of Jackson. I was a serviceman in the telecom department. I've always wanted to be a police officer. I applied, went through the training and the physical training and the mental training to be here. And I really look forward to being a police officer. And I've been training since I got hired on here at February 22nd. So since then, I've been doing a lot of training with these guys, and it's just been an experience. And this is the only thing that I've ever wanted to do. The crimes that I committed as a past, I'm a child of divorce, so those I think maybe that kind of affected me a little bit when I was younger. Since then, I've grown up. I'm a family man. I go home, I hang out with my kids, my wife. I come to work, and I love it every day. And I hope that you guys will give me this waiver, because this is something that I'm very passionate about and something that I very much want to do.
What about your drinking habits? You still drink?
No, sir. No, sir. Just maybe the occasional beverage at dinner, a glass of wine, or a beer, but nothing, on 4th of July, but nothing more than that. No going out, no partying. Like I said, I'm a married man with kids. I don't have time for.
Yeah. No marijuana use?
I'm sorry.
He said no marijuana use.
Oh, no, sir. No, sir.
He did pass our pre-employment drug screens also.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else? Yes.
Mr. Johnson, can you tell us how many times you've been arrested before, including as juvenile?
A lot of them were way back then. I guess it was 2 times I've been arrested for those 2. Maybe I'm not sure. I think he has it here. If I was arrested, it was just cited. I wasn't ever brought to jail.
Can you tell us some of the circumstances involving around these incidents?
Allow access.
I'm sorry, what was that?
You're muted.
You're muted, Jackson. Thank you.
Can you hear me now? I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir. I was simple possession. I was just at a party with some friends. I was talking to my girlfriend at the time outside, and we were smoking marijuana, and a police officer pulled up, asked me what I was doing, and then cited me then. And then before that, on the underage drinking, I had just turned 18. I may have been 18 for 2 or 3 weeks, and from my memory, and then we went to a club, bought some alcohol, somebody bought us some alcohol, or I don't really remember the circumstances. It was a long time ago, but then we went outside into the parking lot where I vomited because obviously I was too young, and police officer called me then and told me not to, brought me to jail, arrested me.
Okay, when you were stopped for a window tint violation and you did not have a driver's license, what were the circumstances around that?
I'm not sure, sir. I'm not sure if I had a driver's license, or did I have a driver's license, or did I
It says driver while license.
driving while unlicensed? I'm not too sure about that, sir. That was taken care of in court. It must have been where I didn't have my license may have been suspended or something. I'm not too sure on the circumstances there, sir. I would have to look at the case. I haven't
Okay, on that same date of August 17, 2012, it also looks like you were charged with the failure to appear. I'm wondering if that was in regards to one of these prior court dates, because of,
that it may be, sir.
It may be from that public intoxication because that, I believe that never was taken care of, all the fines for that until 2 years ago. So that may be stemming from what that failure to appear was.
Yes, sir.
Because I believe he pled guilty to the simple possession of marijuana in court shortly after he made the initial appearance for that.
Yes, sir.
But I don't know how the failure to appear did not get caught then 2 years later on that through the court system.
Any other questions?
I know there's one on here that looks like it probably occurred while he was a juvenile. We can't, I don't know if we can dive off into that, but I don't know if everybody saw that on the arrest record. I don't have anything else, Madam Chair.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second? Sorry, was there a second? And the motion is to approve the waiver. All in favor? Any opposed?
No.
2 noes. Okay. Motion approved. Thank you,
Thank you,
Jeff.
commissioners. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, University of Tennessee Knoxville Police Department requests a conviction waiver for Ryan Nicholas Collins, hired January 3rd, 2022. On May 2nd, 2017, Mr. Collins was arrested at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and charged with shoplifting. On May 2nd, 2017, Mr. Collins pled guilty to shoplifting. Mr. Collins has since satisfied all court-ordered fines and fees.
University of Tennessee, Knoxville here.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here on behalf of Chief Land University to request a waiver for the pre-employment criminal history. Mr. Collins has been with us for a few months now. His behavior has been exemplary. His attitude and his style of work has been wonderful. This happened when he was 18 years old. He's now 24, so it's been 6 years. It was while he was on post at Fort Campbell, so he was in the military. He was honorably discharged from the military, and all this was handled administratively, so it was never handled in court. And so based on this information, his attitude, his background that we did, his references, and his character, we'd like to request the waiver.
For the record, would you identify yourself?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm Sergeant Lindsay Gardner.
Okay. Is he here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you step up and tell the commission about what occurred, what we need to know?
First off, I'd like to thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to be here, as well as the University of Tennessee Police Department. Pretty much the mistake I made, I was out at PX. I went out to go buy groceries. I found a small phone charger. Just lapse in judgment. I believe, life is about actions and consequences of those. Today I'm here to represent those. Since then, and I believe it was actually a pretty good learning experience for me. It's helped me grow, realize I'm an adult now. I have to be held responsible for what I've done. And since then, I've done everything I can to try to prove that I'm not that type of person. Try to hold myself with honesty and make those around me grow.
Questions from commissioners?
I have, were you in the military? You're in the military?
Yes, sir.
Were you in basic training or what?
No, I had just graduated basic training. I think I've been on the post maybe a month and a half.
So you hadn't been through advanced training.
So I was infantry, so I did one station unit training.
Mr. Collins, you were given non-judicial punishment at your unit, is that right?
Yes, I received field grade R15 where I did 45 days of extra duty.
Did they reduce you in rank as a result of this?
No, sir. I have no loss of pay, no post restriction, and no, nothing like that. Just extra duty.
So, but fairly minimal.
Yes, I was very fortunate to have a good chain of command to step up to that for me. So,
How long did you serve?
about 3 years, sir.
Where were you stationed during your time in the Army?
Fort Campbell.
The whole time at Fort Campbell?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever deploy?
No, sir.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And then you were honorably discharged at the end of your tour.
Yes, sir.
I don't see a conviction in his paperwork. If it was handled judicially, I don't believe he needs a waiver.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I'm sorry.
We don't need one.
I heard her, but I didn't hear
So
what
I
they
said,
said.
I'll make a motion to approve if we have to do one, so.
I don't believe he needs.
We don't
one.
need
No
one.
action needed.
No, sir.
Okay.
We need something saying he's okay.
He was honorably discharged. It was handled internally. He's fine.
It was an on-base matter, is that correct?
It was on base. It was at the post exchange.
Military.
Yeah, just for a point of information, in the military, when you get in trouble, there are a number of different ways that these kind of issues can be handled. One is by non-judicial punishment, where the commander basically has the authority to reduce in rank or take pay or restrict the soldier to certain limits. So that's what happened here. So it's not technically a conviction at all. So.
He overly disclosed is basically what happened. He shared. Thank you for sharing. That shows honesty and it's appreciated. So, thank you.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Knoxville.
Thank you all.
All right, have a safe trip back.
That's what you. They disclose it. We want to look at.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, make sure we're doing our due diligence.
We're okay.
Moving on to section 6, waivers to attend another academy. Cleveland State Community College requests a waiver to change academies for Stephen Joseph Piscini. In April of 2021, Mr. Piscini attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy. Mr. Piscini was unable to complete the academy due to a medical injury he received during training. Cleveland State Community College is requiring a waiver to change academies so Mr. Piscini may attend their academy.
Is anyone here either on Zoom or present from Cleveland State?
Yes, ma'am. Douglas Town, Assistant Director there.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
May I speak?
We have a motion to approve currently on the floor.
Yeah, we just made a motion to approve and seconded it. Bill wants to?
Mr. Piscini has not been in any contact with us since we have submitted this paperwork, and we've made multiple attempts to get a hold of him. And so we would like to withdraw that request.
Would you like to withdraw y'all's motions?
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
I guess they did one. Yeah, we got support. Yes. We're all doing our due diligence here. Everybody's doing all right. So is your motion to withdraw, your request withdrawal will be accepted by the chair?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Section 7, waiver of basic training, specialized substitutions for in-service training. The following requests for waivers or substitutions of basic training have been reviewed and appear to meet post requirements. Post Assistant Director reviewed and administratively approved 13 post-transition school waivers and all corresponding and supporting documents. The reported documents appear to be in order and meet or exceed the minimum standards set forth by the Peace Officer Standards and Training Requirements. In addition, Post Assistant Director has reviewed and administratively approved 3 solo waiver requests based on the recently expired governor's orders. Due to the recent expiration of the orders, the Post Commission has approved for solo waiver requests to be administratively approved until the virtual post-transition school is completed.
I don't think we need a vote on any of that. Is that correct?
I believe it.
That's fine.
Section 8, Administrative Matters, Waiver of In-Service Rule. Requests for a waiver have been received for the following officers so that they, as well as their departments, will remain in compliance with post guidelines. They are not eligible for the 2021 salary supplement. First on the agenda, Decatur County Sheriff's Office requests a waiver of in-service for John Horner, hired April 29, 2021. Mr. Horner did not complete child sex abuse, mental illness, or EVOC in-service training for the 2021 calendar year. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post guidelines.
Okay, is there someone present from Decatur County Sheriff's Office? Is Mr. Horner available? Okay, they were notified by the Post Commission. Should we continue it? Commission good with that? Continue it till we can find out what situation
They
is
rolled it in the meeting currently or
Next month.
next month?
next month. Okay, next.
Goodlettsville Police Department requests a waiver of in-service for Michael Ryan Morgan, hired September 23rd, 2020. Mr. Morgan completed 36 hours of in-service training. However, Mr. Morgan was not able to complete 4 hours of the required EVOC training for the 2021 calendar year due to COVID. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post guidelines.
Is there someone from Goodlettsville Police Department?
Yes, ma'am. Commander Jason Deloach, Goodlettsville PD.
All right, thank you. Can you tell us any more about this?
It's exactly what he said. It's, we have, each year we do the 2 hours mandatory training for EVO. Every other year we add an additional 4 hours for driving. This year, 2021 was the year that we set up our driving track, and Officer Morgan was not present due to being sick with COVID. He did do the 2 hours mandated, but did not complete the 4 hours driving.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we waive the 4 hours and allow him to be compliant to gain his in-service pay, because per the rules, we can waive 10%, he met the mandate within 2 hours.
Could you hear that, Goodlettsville?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed?
This is the pay, correct? Yes, with the pay.
With pay. Did you hear us okay, Goodlettsville?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Greenbrier Police Department requests a waiver of in-service for Buster Laurie Locklear, hired March 7th, 2016. Mr. Locklear completed 116 hours of in-service training. However, Mr. Locklear was not able to complete the mandated 2 hours of EVOC training and 1 hour of mental health training for the 2021 calendar year. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post guidelines.
So I see Greenbrier is present. Could you please identify yourself for the record?
Captain Todd DeHarsh, representing Chief Randy Pack with Greenbrier Police Department.
And who do you have with you?
Lieutenant Locklear.
Okay, all right. Tell us what we need to know about this.
Lieutenant Locklear did complete 116 hours of in-service through multiple trainings. What we actually assumed, and that was partly on our problem, is when he went to the city county CID school previously, it has been in part of that course, these mandatory topics, and both of us overlooked it, the department and Mr. Locklear. We missed out on that part. Some of the things that he does do is he's a SIPA partner, so he deals with that. He's our child sex abuse investigator. He also helps us out with training on firearms and any other tactical issues.
Any questions from the commission?
Was there a basis for the reason he wasn't able to complete the Those 3 hours.
Once we realized we had COVID issues and then run into the time right at the end.
He had-
We get it completed once we figured it out.
He didn't have it. They just had it.
COVID. Oh.
You did no driving training last year?
I'm sorry, sir.
You took no driving training last year?
We did a session of B Academy, but I wasn't able to complete the full course that we do at the department.
How long was the VCAT session?
I think it's 2 hours.
Okay, so you don't need a waiver for that, and did any of, since there's not a statutory requirement for the length of mental illness training, any of that training that you take have a mental illness component?
Yes, sir. I did, some of the in-service that I completed was with the child sex abuse investigation courses, seminars and things of that nature. They touched on it, but I don't know if it was, from what we understood, it wasn't post-approved.
Was the class itself post-approved that you took?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The entire course was.
I wanna, is there any way you can look into that, Dexter?
I can, I have to get back with you.
I'm sorry,
I can, I have to get back with you.
all right, can we push this off to the end of the agenda?
Sure.
Let Dexter look at it.
Can y'all stand by?
Yes,
All right, thank you.
Next up is the Greene County Sheriff's Office requests a waiver of in-service for Jason Ronald Schutz, hired October 13th, 2021. Mr. Schutz was unable to complete all the required 2021 in-service training due to the timing of being hired. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post guidelines.
Greene County Sheriff's Department representative. Are you online? We'll push that to the end of the agenda if that's the pleasure of the commission, see if they pop in. Everyone good with that?
Just,
Next up, Knoxville Police Department requests a waiver of in-service for Coy Lee Tucker II, hired November 26, 2007. On July 30th, 2021, Mr. Tucker was placed on administrative leave pending an ongoing investigation. Mr. Tucker was unable to complete the required 2021 in-service training. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post guidelines.
Knoxville Police Department represented.
Yes, Lieutenant Sammy Schaefer.
Hi, Lieutenant, how are you this morning?
Just fine, thank you.
Okay, what can you tell us about Officer Tucker?
In July of last year, he was placed on administrative leave. His police powers were also temporarily suspended pending an investigation that revolved around a domestic issue. And so he was on administrative leave for about half the year, which he was unable to complete our in-service, just seeking a waiver for compliance.
I'll make a motion that we give the waiver to the department, but not to Mr. Tucker himself.
Is there a second?
We had that issue last year. You sort of decertified. We just need to give the waiver to the both in compliance. He's on investigation. He's not gonna get it. If you do that, you sort of administratively decertify. That's why.
Still
Metro
employed,
said-
right?
Yes, he's still.
Yeah, I mean, the statute provides if you don't get 1 year in the second, you don't get it, you become automatically, but
So,
it's a little risky, the commission taking action like that would come without a hearing. See what I'm saying? It'd be like us going forward with a revocation without giving him full due process. If he's still going, he's still employed by his agency?
we had this last month.
Yeah.
That's why we have Metro back here again.
Okay. All right, then I'll change my motion. Waiver for both, accept the waiver for both.
second.
Let's try to think there's a way in between.
Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Uh,
Any opposed? All right, Knoxville PD, did you hear us?
Yes, thank you, Commission.
Okay,
Next up, Metropolitan Nashville Police Department requests a waiver of in-service for Damon Scott Hutchison, hired July 16, 2015. Mr. Hutchison failed to complete the test portion of the required in-service training for the 2021 calendar year. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post guidelines.
Morning. I see Metro is here. Could you both identify yourself for the record?
Yes, ma'am. Scott Bird, Commander of the Training Division at the Nashville Police Department on behalf of Chief Drake.
Robert Doak, Lieutenant over Field Support Operations.
Officer David Hutchison.
All right, thank you. Would you like to elaborate on this, or is there anything else we need to know?
Do we need to read the?
Well, we have this, yeah.
I think it essentially boils down to there's some confusion with respect to whether or not he completed the test at the end of his in-service. There were some communication snafus, if you will, with respect to that. Once it was confirmed and identified that he had not completed this test, he's since done so. But he had completed all portions of that training minus the exam.
So he has passed the exam for last year's in-service? All right, is there a motion on this?
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? So I think, Metro, we can take all of yours into kind of a grouping. So if you can stand by and we'll make a correction from the meeting last month. And just read that into the record.
The Metro Nashville Police Department requests a waiver of in-service for Mackenzie Isaac Harper. I'm sorry, I'm one ahead. Requests a waiver of in-service for Brian Darnell Woodward, hired July 1, 2011. Mr. Woodward was unable to complete all the required in-service training for the 2021 calendar year. Due to his involvement in an ongoing criminal investigation, the waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post guidelines. Metro is also requesting a waiver of in-service for Mackenzie Isaac Harper, hired August 16, 2019. Mr. Harper failed to complete the test portion of the required in-service training for the 2021 calendar year. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post guidelines. Metro is also requesting a waiver of in-service for Barry Simone Scott, hired August 16, 2019. Ms. Scott failed to complete the test portion of the required in-service training for the 2021 calendar year. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post guidelines. Metro is also requesting a waiver of in-service for Matthew David Swindell, hired March 16, 2019. On October 20th, 2021, Mr. Swindell was placed on administrative leave pending an ongoing investigation. Mr. Swindell was unable to complete all the required in-service training for the 2021 calendar year. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post guidelines. And Metro is also requesting a waiver of in-service for Warren Rederick Thomas, hired November 18, 1996. Mr. Thomas failed to complete all the required in-service training for the 2021 calendar year. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post guidelines. And Chair, I believe these are the some corrections from last month's post commission meeting. We had an issue with the motion that was on the floor that essentially decertified those officers. We spoke with legal counsel and decided to take no administrative action after speaking with both Commissioner Russell, who made the motion, and also Chairman Parton, that I don't think they realized what the motion meant. And so we took no administrative action against those officers. So this is basically to correct that motion from the previous post-commission meeting.
Is this to keep both of them in compliance? Is that what it was? They kind of separated it like what happened a while ago?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Has anything changed from what we just read? Any of the status of these officers?
We've got a separation of employment with Matthew Swindell and a separation of employment with Brian Woodard. All of the other personnel are still active within our agency and for the record have completed their 2021 in-service and any associated exams associated with that. So they are reflecting current with what it was that they had done last year. They just didn't get done in the calendar year.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all.
Hey, Chairman, can we move the lot clear to next month?
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Can we move the Greenbrier instead of end of meeting to next month?
Oh,
With,
okay.
Dexter.
I have to actually look into it. I can't see it.
So Greenbrier Police Department will move to the May meeting.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
We have to have a motion for it.
We're just moving, we're not taking action. It's up to you if you want to
So
motion.
what we talking about 3 hours?
Well, they're looking to make sure they meet the mandates, because if he meets the mandates and give us in service, if he doesn't meet the mandates, it doesn't. It's gonna take Dexter a little bit to research. Because he more than exceeded the overall time.
Can you make the motion to, so these people don't have to come back? Make the motion where if Dexter finds that they meet the requirement, then everything will go through.
Yeah, we-
You willing to do that?
We could just grant the waiver, but then
And make
reserve
it
the
pending.
portion for the supplement to resolve.
I just say for them to have to come back. I know where Greenbrier is.
How about I make a motion that we approve the waiver pending Dexter finding the appropriate information within the lesson.
Is this approving with pay or
With
without?
pay. Because
The pay is pending, is what you mean.
Right.
You're approving the waiver, but payment is pending, permit if it meets the minimum requirements.
Because you want to approve the waiver either way.
Right.
Okay, why don't you
Well-
restate the motion and then we'll get a second and move forward.
I'll make a motion that we approve actually, if he finds the items in there, he won't need a waiver. But, because he had 117. I'll make a motion, we approve the waiver if Dexter does not find what's needed for in-service and no action be taken if he does.
Pay be dependent on.
I pay dependents because he had 117 hours. All he's needing is a mental illness.
It's got to be in there somewhere.
Right. So essentially, my motion is trying to get him to get him paid.
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Everybody understands the motion? Okay. All in favor? Any opposed?
So waiver's good. We're just debating on money, what Mr. Miles finds.
There you go.
Right.
There we go. Good.
And if
We need
you,
to come back.
you can
No.
look in your training notes and agenda and anything that you can supply would be helpful. We want to help you here.
Yeah, we'll try to get him paid.
Yeah, thank y'all.
All right, have a safe trip home. Yes.
Next up is the Murfreesboro Police Department. Request a waiver of in-service for Ava Trayvon Radley, hired August 4th, 1997. Ms. Radley failed to complete all the required in-service training for the 2021 calendar year. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with PUT's guidelines.
Okay. Anyone representing the Murfreesboro Police Department? I'm not hearing any. I can try and get
Is
it.
Murfreesboro on? We know. You see them?
Let's see them.
Let's see shoot.
We can try and get it in.
Yes, Phil.
All right, moving on to waivers of the 6-month rule. And we had 0 6-month waivers. Following the following departments are requesting a waiver of the 6-month rule to keep their officers and the department in compliance. The Lawrenceburg Police Department requests 2 6-month waivers for Bobby Joe Melton, hired October 4th, 2021. In January of 2022, Mr. Melton attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but was unable to complete the training due to an injury he received during basic training. Mr. Melton is scheduled to re-attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy Basic Police School as soon as he is physically able to do so.
Anyone from the Lawrenceburg Police Department? Are you on Zoom? Lawrenceburg Police?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
That's,
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
And moving on, White House Police Department requesting 3 6-month waivers for Terry Joseph Brown, hired November 29, 2021. In June of 2022, Mr. Brown was scheduled to attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but will not be able to attend due to active military deployment. Mr. Brown is scheduled to attend the basic police school when he returns from deployment in January of 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes.
Waivers of the 8-month rule. The following officers are requesting a waiver of the 8-month rule. They will receive the 2021 salary supplement payment if they completed 2021 in-service requirements. Houston County Sheriff's Office requests an 8-month waiver for James Wilson Kaufelt, hired February 9, 2000. On June 21st, 2021, Mr. Kaufelt retired in good standing. Prior to retiring, Mr. Kaufelt completed all the required 2021 in-service training.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, there are no waivers for medical. Waivers for military leave. The following departments are requesting a waiver for military service for the 2021 calendar year. Military orders are included along with the change of status. These officers will be eligible to receive salary supplements and the departments will remain in compliance. The Assistant Director of Post has reviewed and administratively approved 1 military waiver and corresponding supporting documents. All the reported documents appear to be in order and meet or exceed minimum standards set forth by the Peace Officer Standards and Training Requirements. Moving on to Section 9, applications for training officer. Post investigators have reviewed and approved 5 applications for training officer, and they appear to meet the criteria for approval. There are no officers listed here that have 1 year to complete the instructor development course.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, Section 10, applications for certified instructor. Post investigators have reviewed and approved 17 applications for certified instructor, and they appear to be in order and meet minimum standards, and they've completed the minimum hours and attendance of required courses. There are no officers that have requesting a waiver for 1 year to complete instructor development or to waive the 1 year training officer requirement.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Section 11, curriculum and tests. Post investigators have reviewed and approved 106 in-service and specialized training classes this month, as they appear to be in order and meet or exceed minimum standards set forth by the Peace Officer Standards and Training Requirements. They have made note if these training officers meet post requirements for firearms, EVOC, mental illness, and CSA.
Motion to approve.
Second? Is there a second on the motion? All right. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
There is no old business. Moving on to Section 13, new business. First up will be the Anderson County Sheriff's Office. Request a waiver of Rule 1110-02-037A to forego post-transition school for Robert Gresham Cantley, hired April 11th, 2022. Mr. Cantley's last day of full-time law enforcement was March 19th, 2017. Mr. Cantley became a reserve deputy with the agency in 2018, has completed in-service training each year, and has had continuous employment.
Is there someone here from, oh, hello, from Anderson County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I'm Lieutenant Owens. I'm the GDI for the department.
All right. Is there anything else we need to know about this?
Not other than the brief separation when he retired and we picked him up as reserve. He's been in good standing with us. And he's done all the training we require for any of our officers.
Okay, Lieutenant. Any questions from the commissioners?
No, ma'am.
Is there a motion? Discussion?
So, if I understand this right, he retired. Is that right, in Anderson County?
He retired from Gatlinburg Police Department. And then just briefly after that, came on as a reserve for us. We put him through our training and he's been doing the in-service ever since.
Now you've hired him full-time.
And yes, we just hired him full-time. He got bored and decided he wanted back in.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Any opposed? Motion carries, Lieutenant. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Next up, Columbia State Community College requests the approval of the commission to establish a law enforcement training academy.
Anyone from Columbia? There you are.
Yes, ma'am.
Please identify yourself for the record.
Wayne Prince. I'm a retired captain with Columbia Police Department. I retired in December of last year. Good morning. Thank you for listening to our proposal this morning. Thank you for your service to the state of Tennessee. My name is Gerald Lampley. I'm the Vice President for Columbia State Purview of the Williams Campus and Continuing Education. This proposal came about through an economic development conference hosted by the governor for our elected officials. And this is one request that they made at college to pursue a police academy in our service area. And I have printed PowerPoints if you'd like me to distribute those.
And what's the pleasure of the commission?
Do you have all the facilities necessary already?
The PowerPoint will demonstrate where we stand.
Is it loaded?
It's like
It appears to be.
Yeah, the extended end, they have, we have lined up housing. We have a suitable 4.1 acre EBOX lot, firearms range, and dining.
You have the, what's called the Lyderwood apartment facility?
So yes, through Columbia Police Department's range, yes.
Okay. And how many people do you anticipate going through the academy each year?
So the current plans is to run 4 classes for a minimum of 25 as they start the program to start with 100 students a year.
And have you conducted a market analysis to determine whether or not they're
Yes, so it is in the presentation, so if I mess up some of the numbers, but we also conducted, so you can show through the first that there's definitely an increasing trend in resignations and retirements, along with U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics says 7% growth in law enforcement in the state of Tennessee over the next remaining 8 years. So that's going to lead to roughly 430 officers a year if that stays on track, as additional to what's being going on now. And we also conducted a survey through local departments to see which we received 50 responses. And of those 50, 92% were in favor of an additional training academy, and 50% of the 72% of the respondents said Middle Tennessee would be the location.
excuse me.
So Columbia State's original and main campus is in Columbia, which is Murray County, 35, 40 miles southwest of here. By Spring Hill or Saturn might ring a better bell for you.
Is your housing adjacent campus?
It is. So the campus is pretty much one contiguous piece of property bordered by Hampshire Pike, Rotary Lane, Casey Lane. Westward property owns dormitory style buildings across the street on Casey Lane. So I mean, that's you're stepping off of Columbia State property, walking across the road to the dormitory.
Contracted housing.
It is, would be contract. And they also have group home style. So they have 2 different versions available. In working with them on putting this together, they're very interested. If it succeeds, they want to expand the housing options.
Your driving track is basically your parking lot.
So it's yes and no. So the main student parking is all located out front. This is rear adjunct parking that was created. It's 4.1 acres. It's flat and level, and has in the middle of the parking lot itself, there's only 4 poles that exist out there. And that's the primary location for EVOC to set up the courses. but we've also entered into an arrangement with City of Columbia Parks and Rec for a secondary location at the Ridley Park Sports Complex, because they have two different main roads that access that property that can be shut down at each end. So we have some open roadway driving that can then exit or enter into a parking lot area to set up additional things.
You said your firearms facility would also be utilized in the police department's.
It is, it's Columbia Police Department's range that they utilize. So it's 2 pistol ranges and a classroom and a 100-yard rifle range.
It's not on site.
It is not on site. Both the secondary EBOC and the firearms are within a 9-minute drive of the stuff.
Any other questions?
Just curious, where are your adjuncts?
I'm sorry.
Where are your adjuncts? If you're taking up their parking.
Oh, so I hate to call it overflow, but this is a somewhat new parking lot. And it's not based on arrangements. It's able to schedule it to shut it down. This is, Columbia State's also running a lineman's program. This is the same lot that gets utilized, shut down from access for everyone else to help them get their CDLs. And Columbia State has also looked into, on the beginning edge of all of this, if this moves forward, they have access to additional land that they would be able to make dedicated areas.
And if I may, we also have a proposal that's not been submitted yet to serve both the Lyman Academy and the Police Academy with new facilities. And there's a paved area in that proposal. Probably next year before we submit.
It shows y'all completed a survey on departments, excluding the metropolitan departments. How did y'all do this?
So
what was your sample?
So the survey was utilized through SurveyMonkey, and mainly it was sent out through all the neighboring agencies I reached out to personally, all of the neighboring for Murray County, and then the next circle around that. And it was sent out through TLE, TOA. I was TDI for the department for 10 years and still a member. So that went out through TLE, TOA. So the people we contacted participated, and members of TLE, TOA. So, and a sheriff, I'm sorry, and not the sheriff's association, but Sheriff Road.
Yes.
Also got it out to the sheriff, which resulted in the response.
Okay, so what percentage of your responses came from buildings? I'm sorry, east and west.
I would have to look at the exact, go into SurveyMonkey and look at the exact ones, but the sampling would have been heavily Middle Tennessee.
Because the other reason I was asking was based on what you said, based on the numbers of so the results have some form of sampling bias.
Yes, it would be Middle Tennessee, hit more of it. TLE, TOA members are statewide, but I'm sure that reaching out to individual agencies helped skew that by reaching out to the ones that are secondary borders for us.
Any further questions?
I got a couple. What are your plans for transportation from the Golden Forest to the range and things of that in a 9-minute drive?
So they have access to partnerships that will allow them to get vehicles that be utilized for EVOC. So they do have that. The colleges, they do have a bus. They do have a bus for busing, and to the range and fire, US for range and additional EVOC, right? So that would be the bus and or access to vehicles.
And then how do you plan on recruiting personnel to actually run the academies as far as instructors? and Other stuff.
So if additional approval is granted, Columbia State's prepared to move forward for a director position. And from there, they can start to build the academy. And move forward with looking for instructors and adjuncts. They have criminal justice programs, teaching criminal justice programs in place now. Some of those adjunct positions, of course, would be taught by those, and the full-time instructors that would be a part of the direction.
Okay, I'm not sure, is it appropriate for commission to take action on this today?
According to post-commission rules, you must conduct an on-site visit prior to any approval or any other process regarding this matter. Determining whether you want to do that or not, be up to the commission, but until compliance is confirmed that they comply with all your rules and regular requirements for an academy, which requires an on-site visit to confirm such compliance, you could not approve or action to that.
What would the onsite visit consist of?
To ensure that they meet all compliance, all requirements, facilities, instructors, requirements, other dormitory.
So I'm going back to another question then. So to summarize, you've got a parking lot for a driving track. You've got somebody else's car and drains that you have access to utilize. You would contract with housing that you don't have available already.
That's
right.
For state guidelines, the community colleges can't have housing on campus.
Right. But as it is right now, you have not contracted with housing. You have an arrangement to use a local police department's arms range. And your driving track is a parking lot.
Are you stating have not contracted?
Right, you have contracted with the housing.
It is, the housing is not signed, but it is in place. That's what they built the properties for. They've operated with Columbia State and their athletics program ever since.
It's being utilized for housing for students.
Legal question. On-site housing, and they're across the road.
That's the determination for the commission. I would say you're going to require, chapter 7 of your rules, 1110-07 is what basic academy or requirements for minimum requirements for basic academy. So you're going to verify your on-site visit or whoever.
But it's still, it's not on site, it's across the road.
Well, I have to look exactly the rule which require on facilities. What I understood is separate housing. I don't know if it's.
And the state law says they can't have housing on campus.
So I'm looking here on your rules. If you want to know what order it is, buildings, facilities.
It looks like the state law is a problem.
It doesn't say it's on campus. It says the academy shall be in an area devoted to law enforcement training to ensure training facilities are undisturbed by outside unrelated activities or noises. Class size shall be minimum 75 students. They must have adequate facilities for physical training activities to support the curriculum, such as a multi-purpose activity area or gym. The academy must have adequate restroom, locker, and shower facilities for male and female students. The academy must have administrative office space or designated area for organization and filing of appropriate school administrative records, documents, and related school data. They must have internet access adequate to support the learning objective for the students. They must have all adequate audiovisual equipment to support the curriculum. And then that's just the building and classroom facilities. Then you get to the firing range facilities and the driving skill range.
Brings up another question. Law enforcement housing, is it same housing as the rest of the students?
No, so it is still separate from, because they have 3 separate structures on their property.
That'd be part of what you're looking at.
What I asked the table here is if we have a committee that could further review this and then give you an answer. And it sounds like that's the case. So we have to regroup and determine who that is, and then we'll get back to you if that's all right.
I have one question. If y'all determine any kind of cost, of course, that's gonna be important for the sheriffs and the chiefs and everybody that's involved on this, down the road, so.
So the initial preliminary budget also matches the idea that they definitely know and understand they can't come in at a higher cost than for a municipality to send someone to. So they are aiming at the target range for Toledo prices. And the added thing on this end, another Cleveland State thing heard earlier, Cleveland Walker State, is nowhere in Middle Tennessee can a student graduate high school, start a criminal justice degree program, and remain in Middle Tennessee and go through an academy prior to being hired. They can do it through JSU at 4-year, but their program, the goal is for last semester for degree seeking students to also be able to go through the academy. So they would be able to get into the workforce as a certified officer without leaving Middle Tennessee. See that as a benefit. You know, we were always struggling trying to get slots.
I can't think of the name of the program, if I'm mistaken, they're a program that you all might take advantage of to, I think it's protective education that may remove the cost for agencies.
So for academic programs, this is not an academic program. This is a continuing education, a workforce non-credit, if you will, use those terms. For academic programs, Tennessee Promise, Tennessee Reconnect will pay the tuition.
I was thinking there was one that also did like trade.
So not to split hairs here, but if you go to Tennessee College of Applied Technology, a TCAT, those do cover. But we're a community college, so ours is it's either an AS, an AAS, or a technical, whereas TCATs offer diplomas only in technical training. And that's a gap we've tried to fill. There's some legislation out there. I'm not sure where it's going to go. The funding is not quite there. That would actually pay for this type of program down the road. There's some Pell money that being looked at by the federal government as well.
Any further questions? We're talking about trying to do an on-site or have an audit and looking at curriculum and facilities as per the rules.
And I recommend you gentlemen find our rules and look at them to see what the requirements are. I'm just looking through pursuing, and it says here you have 72 seats, and one of the minimum requirements is 75 for cadets. So that's what something you're going to want to make sure you rectify that.
Without opening it up and looking at it, there's a couple of samplings you're referencing on the class size and such. I think they do meet it, and that was is set up for 72 on there. On the on-site and the curriculum, though, as I read it, that wasn't until approval. There's a point at which the college can't continue to invest without a belief. So hiring directors, someone to write a curriculum, as opposed to laying out the courses that will be created, needs to come with some belief that it would move forward. Because when I read the poster, it looks like that the on-site is the final approval process, as opposed to say an initial approval for review of curriculum and instructors. There wouldn't be any instructors hired at that.
I'll explain this. The class size shall be limited to a maximum of 75 students in all settings. So 72 would be okay, as long as you're not over 75. But you must have these other adequate facilities as part of the controlled environment and the compliance. Initial compliance, all academies approved for the effect of these rules shall comply with the basic law and Ford Academy set forth in this chapter. Commission shall verify full compliance of all standards specified in this chapter prior to certification. Such verification shall include, but not limited to, an on-site inspection. A commission designee shall conduct an initial on-site inspection prior to verification compliance. So they're going to do initial, but they're going to do a final before they.
For the certification, and maybe that's the term.
So that would be where they would give you granted the certification.
Okay, does the commission agree that, or not, that we should pick a date and confirm?
Well, you may wish to set up the subcommittee, or that you want it to be a subcommittee, or people
Yeah, I
participate.
think we all want to go, or need to go, or can go.
Okay.
So can we check schedules and then determine either in August or September? Would that work for the school?
As far as the initial on-site, is that what we're talking about?
Yes, as what Mr. Underwood was saying.
I'm a little concerned with the housing aspect of it. To have that in compliance, we'd have to ask the landlord to adjust what he's doing. In other words, we'd have to create a dormitory style and some bunk beds. And I think the rest of it's going to be okay. As far as, we're going to do our due diligence in having job descriptions and postings for positions out there. But as far as having people hired and a curriculum developed, for the wait until after we have the next step accomplished.
I haven't had a chance to look at this. I've been listening and absorbing. So when were you hoping to initiate your first class?
Well, it really depends on what the approval process is. The earliest would be January. So we would look at hiring a director somewhere in the summer, and then hire the instructors, build the curriculum, build the equipment, get everything in place. That's probably a little bit aggressive, but that would be the very earliest. Think about it.
I've got a comment. We wouldn't necessarily need them to set up a dormitory like it's gonna be set up for our on-site visit. We just need to look at the building and location is what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I think your difference with your initial, I'm sure the landlord's renting that property out beforehand, so y'all commit to be able to see the
Well,
payment.
that's what I think that's what you were alluding to, right?
Yes, correct.
Set up a dormitory. I don't think we need that for the on-site visit.
But if that's the dormitory that's going to be used, you'd like to be able to see it.
Yeah, but I don't need bunk beds in there and all that.
Marshall.
So, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I don't expect to walk in and look at the setup as it's going to be as a cabin. I can visualize that.
Okay.
That helps you.
Yes.
Does anybody else have a problem with that?
I think you may find that initial inspection very beneficial to what you'll need to do eventually. So that may be something you'd rather have sooner than later, so you can get the budgeting for it or whatever's going to be necessary to do.
It seems like we need to move fairly quickly. I don't mean like tomorrow, next week, but, because you're talking about hiring somebody in the summer, right?
That would be the very earliest.
So,
Seems like to me that a lot of it depends on the housing and agreements of the landlord. And that would need to be something that we would need to check on initial to make sure that that's doable with the landlord for the time periods that they're looking at.
but when do they usually clean out the student section and bring them back in?
So, typically it's going to be an academic year, August to May. I'll say the landlord has been very agreeable to work with, to the point that he's stated he would build additional facilities. So the January thing, it'd have to be a break in semesters.
Right.
Yeah, so somewhere in January or maybe even go to next year, next May.
And there is a letter, it's not the contract with pricing, but there is a letter from Westward Holdings, which is the group that owns that housing. And in the presentation, that states they do work on the state.
I'm gonna ask one more question about the farm drainage. I see the letter from Columbia Police Department about access. And the city of Columbia signed off on that.
Yes, Chief also received approval from City Manager Massey before writing that letter. And it's not a part of it, but if there was any issues, Murray County Sheriff's Department had also offered the use of their ranks.
Okay, I don't think we're prepared to make a decision today. It seems like we kind of have our charge and you do too. So Can we get back to you on a date to come and do the audit
Yes,
and to look at this?
I've got my business cards if you'd like those, or if you'd like to go through. Yeah, perhaps you don't mind. Fine.
Appreciate it. Does anybody else have anything before we move on? Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for being here today.
Next up on the agenda, the Knoxville Police Department Law Enforcement Training Academy. They request approval of their 2021 annual report.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, do we have a second? All right. Huh? All right, a vote on it, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
Next up, Spring City Police Department. Jeff Allen Batten was hired on May 8th, 2021. However, Post did not receive the required paperwork until March 18th, 2022.
Okay, I see Spring City Police Department on the Zoom screen. Can you identify yourself?
My name's Roger Day. I'm the chief.
Hi, Chief. Is there anything else that the commissioners need to know about this?
No, this is the last one. We had one other one last month and now we have everything updated. That's pretty much all of it.
All right. Do I have any questions or is there a motion?
Can we get a memory refresh on why they did not get submitted to Post on time?
Sir, it was a previous administration and I started as chief on February the 10th. And after that, we started getting all the files updated.
We'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, Chief, it's approved. Thank you.
Commissioners.
Town of Henning Police Department requests the Post Commission's approval for John Thomas Watson Jr., hired August 31st, 2021, to attend transition school a second time. Mr. Watson attended and passed all portions of the February 2022 transition course, except for the final examination.
All right, is there anyone present to speak to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, could you identify yourself, please?
Chief Rita Burnett.
Hi, Chief. Is there anything else we need to know about this?
No, ma'am, he's worked very hard trying to pass this course. He's been studying and we would appreciate it if you would let him go back a second time. All he needs to do is pass the test.
Any questions from the commissioners?
Actually, I have a question. Do the rules address the phase of transition? I can't remember.
I'm trying to remember myself. I believe it's in the basic.
Stand by, Chief, we're checking.
Yes, ma'am.
Testing for transition school Toyota shall develop a system of testing which relates to the training objectives. Certificate of successful completion shall result in a certification. Or a certificate they completed transition school. It doesn't refer there about testing. What is the director can kind of talk about this?
I do know that we've been working on a set of standard operating procedures for transition school with regard to what happens if somebody fails a test or fails a physical portion, firearms, for example. But we currently do not have those written in place. So
for basic, they would cover the areas that they failed.
Correct.
So basically, it'd probably be the same thing as basic.
I don't recall the draft. I know we haven't, put that into full operation yet. Assistant Director Rather, do you care to speak to that?
As to the draft or?
It's to the draft.
Basic.
In basic and draft.
In basic, they would be given an initial retest. If they failed the retest, then they would have to go through a new phase. I believe that's what we've traditionally done in this course too. They're given one retest. If they fail the retest, I believe that to this point, those persons have been required to go to a basic, having failed transition previously, Mr. Montague.
With the approval of the commission. However, we are doing it with part of it being firearms and the in-processing here, but the next part is virtual. And then they do the virtual part for 3 weeks. They then get the opportunity to take the test. They don't pass the test, they get a retest. And then after the retest, it's either they go the basic or they request to from the commission to go back to transition if that's possible. That's up to the commission.
Has he taken his retest?
He's taking his retest. He failed both of them. I think he was, correct me if I'm wrong, Cooper, 68.
That is 68, yeah.
68 on his final test.
Just completed all other parts of transition school.
He just failed
2 points.
post test.
70 is passed.
75.
So we don't have any rule says we can't let him.
Procedurally, that's just how we've done it. We don't have rules that say that, but procedurally, so that's why we put it before the commission to let them make a decision instead of saying academy. And that's the bottom line.
We recognize the need to have written procedures in place for transition school. And so we are working on that and just want to make sure that we get something that works for the transition school, and of course, make sure it passes the muster of our fine level.
And the rules kind of refer that there would be some kind of written policy or procedures to be not used, but there just didn't seem to be.
I make a motion, we approve this one because the town of Henning, I'm sure needs the help. Hopefully
Yes.
pass it.
Approve what? Approve retaking it? Approve what?
Approve we're taking test.
Is there a second?
Can we go ahead and include consequences for failing
Yeah,
it on the third time?
3 strikes, you're out.
Well,
We return to go back to basic.
The problem is we don't have,
it says is if it's the 3 strike, it either basic or retake the transition. I don't know. I'll have kind of done both. Is that what you're saying?
Well, my hope is that we don't get to that point. So if they approve him and he passes, we're good, but then it will be back up to the commission as to whether they would want to allow him to go to basis.
but I'm okay with what Brian said. I just think he needs another chance. And then if that doesn't work, you'll have to go back to basic, I guess, or whatever we decide about basic or transition.
I mean, and he actually did everything. I mean, I guess, I don't know, Joe, they can just take the test again.
Well, if we handle it in a similar manner to basic police school, then in theory, he would come back and repeat the online virtual portion and retake the test. So not have to complete the firearms and the practical part of it again.
Right. And then we need to come to a decision about how many times you take the test, I guess.
Well, like I said, we were working on those written rules and
Right
they
now,
need to be there. I mean,
Right now,
that's
my
something-
motion stands to approve, take the test again, unless Brian wants to add something.
Is it only the test again? Without any additional training?
Yeah,
He's already filled it twice.
They've already said he's done everything he's supposed to do except pass the test.
So your motion is to allow this officer to take the test again, the 3rd time.
Right.
And do we have a second still?
Yes, second.
You seconded it? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
No. I was gonna say for discussion, you already filled it twice without any additional training. It would probably be beneficial for him to go ahead and do the online before taking the test the 3rd time.
Well, the chief says he's studying for the test. That's an option he can do, I guess. She can do, whoever the officer is. So, do that.
We had a vote, I believe.
I think until we have the rules
Yeah, we're sort of,
hammered out, we can proceed on with this. Chief, are you still there from Henning?
Yes, yes.
Understand where we are at this point?
So he will be allowed to take the test again?
Yes, ma'am. How many officers do you have?
I have 3. I have 2 at the academy right now, and Mr. Watson. I'm in dire need.
I imagine you are.
And that was one of the reasons for my motion.
Can someone mentor him and help him a little before he takes the third test? Maybe study with him?
Yes, ma'am. I was doing that and I will continue.
Okay, all right. We wish you the best and thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all.
We approved it.
Yeah, it's approved for the retest. Retest.
So as it stands, he passes, we're good.
He's good. If he doesn't pass,
Look back to us.
that's right.
All right, Chief, thank you.
Can you repeat that if he passes what?
Where everything's good, no action.
Okay.
Good shape.
If he doesn't, he has to come back to the post.
Come back before the commission.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't send them
Yeah,
out.
there's something before this. All right.
Madam Chair, can we take up Carter County?
Yes, we're going to right now.
Sorry.
Okay, Carter County Sheriff's Office requests a military discharge waiver of Mark Edward Ofsenik II, hired December 27th, 2021. Mr. Ofsenik served in the United States Army for 2 years and received a general under honorable discharge.
Anyone from Carter County? Oh, I see you on Zoom.
Yes, Commissioner, this is Staff Sergeant Michael Malone. I'm the training officer and the general department instructor. Also have Deputy Ofsonic here with me.
Okay, is there anything else we need to know about this?
No, you have his statement of the reason that he received a general under than honorable. But if you do have questions, Deputy Ofsonic is here.
Questions from the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. So we have a motion to approve in a second. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed?
No.
Anyone no? All right, do you hear that, Carter County? We approved it.
Yes, ma'am. I greatly appreciate it, Commissioners.
All right, thank you. I'm not sure my notes are right, but I had a note to see if Murfreesboro Police was on here again. And also Greene County Sheriff's Office, if they joined us late. Is there anybody else? Did I miss anybody? All right, then we have the last item on the agenda.
Decatur County Sheriff.
Carter.
Decatur's on there, but that was not.
Decatur had a break.
So the last item.
Decatur County.
That was rolled to next month.
That was moved to next month. That's right.
Decatur, do y'all want to take it here? He's there now.
Oh.
It's under, on page 4, under administrative waivers.
Yeah.
Decatur County Sheriff's Office requests a waiver of in-service for John Horner, hired April 29, 2021. Mr. Horner did not complete child sex abuse, mental illness, or EVOC in-service training for the 2021 calendar year. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post guidelines.
Could you identify yourself from the Sheriff's Department in Decatur County, please?
Captain Kyle Ballou with Decatur County. I'm the department GDI.
All right, thank you. Can you tell us what we need to know about this to make a vote?
We sent Deputy Horner to a 40-hour SRO class, and we had sent several deputies to this class in the past, and it included those required post-required classes, and evidently this time it wasn't included, and we were not aware of that until way after the fact.
That's all right. Not an SRO, should be going to SRO class.
You said this was a school resource officer class he attended?
It was in Madison County, and like I said in the past, our deputies that we had sent, all the required courses, firearms, EVOC, everything was included in this course. And we were not made aware until we had submitted our in-service after January that those required courses were not included in there. Also, this deputy is no longer working for us. He resigned a few weeks ago and went to work for a police department in Iowa.
Oh, so you're interested in compliance for your agency?
That's correct.
Okay,
Motion approved.
Second.
Second.
all right. All in favor of the motion to approve? Any opposed? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, yeah, the last item.
Our last item today, Stephen Francis Sullivan requests the commission to review his previous determination of not being qualified to run for sheriff of Hickman County, Tennessee. Mr. Sullivan was not qualified for TCA 8-8-102, section A9A, which states, except as provided in subdivision A9B, have at least 3 years of full-time experience as a post-commissioned certified law enforcement officer in the previous 10 years, or at least 3 years of full-time experience as a state or federal certified law enforcement officer with training equivalent to that required by the post-commission in the previous 10 years, provided that any person holding the office of sheriff on May 30th, 2011 shall be deemed to have met the requirements of this subdivision A9.
All right, sir, could you state your name for the record, please?
Stephen Francis Sullivan.
All right, thank you. So tell us what we need to know to review this again.
Well,
Is there any new information?
probably not, but I appreciate the time for the people that's meeting here. And I come here just to try to, I say, pack it in and hopefully count on my military experience as an MP of military police. I've served as a civilian law enforcement for over 20 years here in Middle Tennessee. I retired from Franklin City as a detective back in 2000. And you see the records and what I have submitted, I've been an officer served out for many years, retired, and did some overseas mission as a police officer, international police officer, been to the Capitol Police and also with Kosovo Police Academy, and the MP, and I retired from the National Guard this year recently, and I'm hoping to count my military police experience as a department that count for my last 10 years in law. In military, it is different, but sometimes it's the same. We do some of the same training, mostly the same training, but we do some overseas training and, detainee training, different types of training than the civilian side of it. But in the National Guard and on the full-time military, we do the law and order. We have our post. They like Fort Campbell has their post, military police. And we do have domestic child sexual abuse. We have rapes, assaults, all that we have to be trained on also. But also in the military, National Guard side of it, we have the same type of training, especially when we get called out. Granted, it's far between, but we still have to keep up with the training. When we get called out to a law and order mission, say, for example, the time that I deployed in Katrina, we had to do a law and order mission down in Katrina. We worked alongside the local police department down there. But we also have to develop within that community or that town or that state, how they operate on their state laws. Of course, we still have to have the search procedures, protect the rights of citizens. All the state laws we have to be up to date on. If we are attached to that particular mission, yes, we do the law and order, we arrest, or we apprehend or detain, then we take them to the local police department and we turn them over to them. Of course, if they're
have to do all our reports, and then we have to testify and all that from magistrates, what we found, what we got, what we have a regular police officer there. My plea to y'all is just hoping that you would let my military experience count for the equivalent of being in law enforcement for the last 10 years. So I'm retired. I'm not somebody that doesn't have any law enforcement experience at all. I've got over 20 years of law enforcement experience. I've done 3 deployments overseas. I just asked if y'all accept that. Let me at least get on the ballot. I may not even win, but I just like to get on the ballot and try. My county and a lot of the citizens in my county just asked me to run. They've known me for years, know when I was a police officer in Franklin City, know when I was a police officer in Fairview, where I started out at back in '82. They really want to see a change. I hope to make a change if I get on the ballot, but I've told them that I've got to get on the ballot. Hope you do. So I'm here before you. Ask if you accept that. Please let me get my name on the ballot and see.
Are you full-time or part-time? And when did you separate?
Discharged in 2018 when I got the last discharge. But I was put on I was ordered into a company that was non-deployable because I had several injuries from the end before overseas, so I was non-deployable. I put over there in 2014, got discharged in 2018. If that makes any sense to you.
Are you still doing law enforcement duties in 2014?
As an MV, I left my MOS. I still do that in Dixon at the National Guard. You know, actually what we actually do is our MOS, and what you probably know a little bit about military, MOS, that's our job description, is the MP, and also do supply work. So we still carried on our training throughout the year as the MP. That is my primary MOS with the military police. My secondary MOS, second job, as we call it, for the supply service.
How much was the MP and how much was the percentage?
Probably looking at 60-40. 60 being in my situation when I was put on the order to go to the non-deployable unit was probably 60% supply and 40% MP.
So approximately how many hours a week did you work?
It's kind of hard for me to say, because you know, as National Guard, we do the law enforcement side only when we're required to do the law enforcement side. But on the supply side of it, we're always doing something in the National Guard. On the supply side of it, moving equipment, transferring equipment, you know, get people uniforms and stuff that we have to provide for the unit. For the MPs, now we got tasked out if we had to do, say, the gate guard, which a lot of times now is the biggest side. So if we are into a training situation, then it's a different story where it's military police guarding the facility. They may work the gate, they may work the arms room, or they work some of the buildings that we have guard. So it just varies. I didn't actually put a number.
Mr. Sullivan, thank you for your service, obviously. My question is on the DD 214, it's got the year 2012.
2012?
Yes.
And that's when I was transferred to the non-deployable unit. Kind of works in a strange way, and I mean, Dexter could probably tell you a little bit more about how that operates. He's a retired. So my actual discharge for paper and my DD 214, I think he may have a copy of it in 2018.
It's been a while since I was in the military. But
Thank you, sir.
do you get activated every summer or every year you get activated?
In that regard, we get actually 2 years or 2 weeks out of the year. And, you know, we, real 1 week out of the month.
Right.
But here recently from 2008 up to 2014, in the last part of 13, I was on orders, full-time orders with it. So and then I put in my papers to retire because of an injury in 2000, actually late in 2013. And of course, you know, over into the non-deployable unit, which is up here in Nashville, up here at Citro Drive. And finally sent me my actual discharge in 2018.
So when's the last time you flew? 2 weeks after the,
2 weeks is 2014.
because I know from my experience, Fort Jackson, when the reserves came to Fort Jackson, they took over the show in the unit I was in, and they did all the policing and everything. So that's basically what y'all did. I know you did training and stuff like that.
So when we go to our AT training for 2 weeks a year, we do classroom training at an MP. Our classroom training is like we do here at the academy. We have law and order, we have search and seizure, we have traffic stop, we have domestic violence training. We have all that. Of course, we got our firearms training that we have to do during our ATs and stuff like that. And of course, but we got other training too, also, as far as on the military side, we have people, what we have to do there,
You had on call, you had on call,
or
you had on call, officers, they call, we answered calls on post, stuff like that.
we had simulations for that, yes. But now if we are assigned, say like Fort Campbell, we do our ATS at Fort Campbell. They got now for the MPs itself, they are assigned to work along with the MPs that are actually doing the police work on post.
Right, that's what I was looking.
Do all that. Along with all the other training. Of course, military change as far as being police, military police, as far as when you go into basic training, change of what it used to be, and attest to this. They have started including all of this training that the post requires here in Tennessee. You know, now, as far as the hours, they'd be a little bit different than the hours of training we have in each subject. But we are getting, plus we got others, we got kicking in doors, the raising villages and stuff overseas, we got all that training too. But they are incorporated because they do law and order missions here in the States and other places too. We have to, we can't violate the rights. So we have to, our upper chain of command is making sure we're before like there was in Katrina. They check with their laws down there in that particular state. Then it comes down through the chain to us as the MPs. And they tell us what we can and cannot do, and they train us on what we're supposed to be doing, so they won't violate.
But even your military service, you weren't a full-time, getting paid. You were supply sergeant, and then also had duties as
Well, my primary, if we try to explain this, but again, our primary job, we have MOS, what they call MOS. But my primary MOS was military police. That was my prime duty. Secondary duty, or secondary job in that is they can put you anywhere else you want. But as far as military, you got to be trained in certain areas to do that particular job. So I was trained also as a supply sergeant. And
The only reason I was asking is your certification of release, your discharge for active duty, so your primary specialty is unit supply.
well, that's what I was, that's what I was at that particular. I was supply sergeant my last deployment over in Afghanistan.
And just wondering, and you were discharged from active duty 6/7 of 2012, and then put on to what they call retired reserve.
Or that instead of releasing from active duty is when I came back from deployment.
The DD 214 that you have before you is one that he came back from a deployment.
That's what it showed.
When he was deployed, he was not doing military police stuff. He was assigned as a supply sergeant over there. Then when he comes back, he technically goes into his National Guard unit, back to his MOS, then back to the 1 weekend out of the month, then 2 weeks out of the year.
Well, not full time.
Not full time.
Also, what he said was that 60 hours left with the law enforcement being 40.
It can, you know, it just normally when you're doing AT or you have duty, when you're working sometimes extra hours through the week, you could be doing other jobs. He's saying that his primary military specialty was military police. And that's what it was by his primary military specialty, but it wasn't a full-time job in that sense, like we would look at full-time law enforcement.
So the last time we really did full-time was 2012.
2012, what you see here is his discharge when he coming from Afghanistan, and that he was actual worked as a supply sergeant. They didn't have him in his actual MOS as a military police officer.
So where,
Adding to this, excuse me, sir, adding to this, when I come back out of 2012, I got a separate order to cut when I come back to states. I'm on active duty orders, which is not, it's not Title 10, it's like active duty. It's on another title, but I'm full-time with that guard with the Dixon unit. Yeah, from 2000, when I got back to 2012 to 2015. You know, so now I'm back to my primary MOS. And whether I'm doing it on a daily basis, it just depends on what they need me to do in that. And if I'm supply, they need me to supply, I do supply work. If they need me an MP work, I do MP work. But, you know, I have orders. It's different compared to that one that you just read from 2012. You know,
Well, when were you,
Title 10, Title 8.
you said you retired from Franklin PD?
Yes, sir.
What years did you work?
There from 86 to 2000.
Dexter, did we have documentation showing 3-4 years of full-time experience on enforcement?
I do not. Only thing I have is military. And that's the only thing I have. When you look at his record, where he last was, indicated was Spring Hill.
Well, I was, yes,
And he left there in 2006. I had to determine the 10-year mark from the date he signed the affidavit, which was March the 14th of 2022. I go back 10 years to 2012, March 14th, and none of that fell within that category. That's why he didn't have 3 full-time years in the last 10. And but that's why he's asking for his military
So he
service
was 6 years out.
to be counted.
I retired from Franklin and then I had worked for Spring Hill. I left Spring Hill and I was working part-time with Burns Police Department, which they say it doesn't count if you work part-time. And they had sent a letter up there saying that I did work for Burns at that particular time. Then I was deployed in 2000, kind of over 2008, full time because we're deployed to Iraq. So I told the chief at Burns at that particular time, was the Chief Summerhour, that I just go ahead and resign because I work with part-time, so he can go ahead and fill that spot because they needed the officer. But he wouldn't have to hold it, he can fulfill it to, so he had manpower. So I was deployed then, and ever since then, I've put on orders, full-time orders from 2008 to 2015. Even though you got a DD 214, you probably got 2 of them in there. It says I discharged on this day, I discharged in 2012. But I got orders I could go, I need to, that I was put on order as soon as I come back to my other unit full time. But it's whether or not if y'all want to count the military experience. That's what I don't have police experience at all, like the record driver had. But he didn't have any. He can't care. We don't know what happened to that. But, you know, I've got over 20 years experience. And run for sheriff in my community. But I have been on reserves, officers have been on reserves for Hickman County. They start the reserves, I've been on them, they stopped the reserves, they started back, I go back to the reserves. Do some training with them, and then they end the reserves, and now they don't have the reserves anymore.
Is there a motion?
Ms. Sutherland, I do appreciate your service to our country and your performance and all. I just can't get the math to where we really need to be to go with this. I'll make a motion with no action.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Okay. That's the decision of the commission, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you for that.
Is there any further business this commission needs to attend to?
Not necessarily on record.
In that case,
Make a motion to adjourn.
there you go. All in favor?
Aye.